Hi, everybody. Can everybody hear me? So happy to be here with you guys. Happy Saturday. Let's see who we have in the room. We have 10 participants. Let's see, where are you guys? Do you guys see the Q&A section? There it is. Go ahead and find that Q&A section and introduce yourself. Let me see who's here. I know I invited you guys to come join me on my last workshops. I do see some familiar names. If you're here for the first time, you can find that raise hand feature and just let me know that you're here, that we're meeting for the first time. I'm Alicia. I've been teaching these workshops since 2020. Hi, everybody. Welcome to my new people. I teach about 4 workshops a month, and I've been modeling since 2016. So I've been in the industry for 10 long years. And by far, my most cherished accomplishment is being here with you guys because it's everything that I needed to learn and nobody taught me. So I've compiled all of my workshops into all the most useful information you could find. It's in bite-sized chunks. I use a PowerPoint so we can visualize. I'm like a visual person. And as I keep learning and growing in the industry, as more opportunities find my way, I'm able to share that with you guys along the way. So I've been doing this for 6 years. I'm really happy every time I get to log on here. And today's workshop is really, really important if you guys are interested in modeling. Now, I know that 99 we represent models and actors. In the very early beginning of my career, I took acting classes, and I have a respect for actors. It definitely helped me adjust my camera presence and be comfortable on the other side of the camera. So if you are an actor and maybe modeling is something you're sort of interested in, you definitely have a place here in these workshops too, because it's all about that camera presence for us, right? So I'm going to show you guys a ton of images in this workshop so we can understand what constitutes a really strong portfolio, why it's so important, why it's step one in the game, and it's something that you continue to build on. These are some very recent images, but I'm going to show you some images back from when I first started. And then towards the end of the workshop, we're going to talk about all the posing tips and tricks that help you move in front of the camera and get really good images so you can market yourself. I see we have some people who just signed on. Better late than never. We're still doing some introductions if you want to find the Q&A section. Introduce yourself, and why don't you guys, while we wait another couple minutes for more people to join, let me know if your passion is acting, if it's modeling, if it's both. Shonda, I'm also from Connecticut. I was born and raised in Bristol. I went to John Casablanca's acting school. So I had previously told you guys I took acting classes. That's where I took them. I think it was up in like Middletown or something, Rocky Hill. And so I got my start modeling in New York City. So I don't know if you are familiar with the train ride over into Grand Central Station, but the very first year that I was modeling back in 2016, I was on that train like 3, 4 times a week, just going to auditions. So for those of you who know my story, that was a big hurdle in the beginning. I always tell you guys it's a tough industry. You put yourself out there, you make all the necessary investments, but typically there's no guarantee, that you're gonna get work. You just hope and pray. I think it took like 8 months for me to get my first job. And at that point, I had no idea what I was doing. I was showing up to the auditions, but I didn't actually know how to model. I had no concept of camera presence, of posing, of any of that. So that is the workshop that I taught on Monday. It's offered once a month because it's so important for you guys to really understand what to expect when you show up to your first job, preparation, professionalism, all of the above. So, this will definitely help you with posing and getting your foundation. I mean, step one is always going to be getting those really good pictures to market yourself. Even back in the day when, like before COVID hit, everything was really done in person, but we still had to bring a big portfolio. Somewhere around my house, I have my big leatherback portfolio that I used to walk around New York City with. And it was brutal because you would show up to the casting, and obviously you'd look at all your competition. And then the casting people would look through your book right in front of you. So you could see their impressions, their reactions, whether they liked the images or not. It was cutthroat. But fast forward now, a lot of things are submitted online. I just had a Google meet and greet with somebody for a casting. So you don't actually have to show up. You can just have really good images to submit yourself with. And that's kind of how we market ourselves in this industry. It is step one. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to get going. Step one, like I said, you have to understand that having a portfolio is vital. And you really cannot be marketed or sell yourself without those really great images. It has to capture a lot of things, your camera presence, your persona, your physicality, your skill level, your connection to the camera. And then, like I said, it's something that never goes away. So you might invest and get your first portfolio pictures done, but we change as we go, so you might look a little different. If you change your look, you're going to have to update your profile. And my favorite thing is seeing the growth of your portfolio over time, but you build it in the direction that you want it to go. So if you are really focused on booking those lifestyle shoots, like maybe, hotel ads, commercials, stuff like that, that's where acting and modeling kind of overlap. You'll have a nice, bright, smiling portfolio with tons of smiles in it, approachable. But if you want to do more of like the high fashion or like the beauty and the skincare, you're going to need more up close pictures of your skin, things like that. So a good portfolio is going to have a little bit of combo of all of that so that you can market yourself in all of those directions. But you should be focused on kind of what kind of pictures do I want to get me where I want to go. So the portfolios market the model because the clients are going to view it. It's going to be their first thing that they look at. They're going to look through tons of portfolios a day to try to narrow down who is the right fit for the role. So sometimes they look through it quick. So it's really important that we pick our strongest images that really captivate and really show the model or the actor. It's going to also be proudly displayed on your agency website and also on your social media. Social media is a free tool, Instagram. If you guys want to keep your eye out for my social media workshop, I teach you all about how to brand yourself on that platform. And also when you have polished, beautiful images that are strong, that are professionally taken, it shows that you are committed. That's like half the battle sometimes as a model is like they don't want to do their portfolio test shoots because it's a lot of work, because it's money, but it shows your commitment and it's one way that you can really capture that skill. It's definitely going to attract clients and get you noticed. I did just mention the word test shoots. If you guys were like, huh? Those are, well, we'll get to it in the next slide, but a portfolio is a collection of photographs from these test shoots. Clients are going to look at them closely to determine if you're the right fit for their project or their brand. So as you can see, I'm kind of sprinkling in images for you guys from my portfolio. You can see it's done in different settings too. This is in front of the water on the beach in Miami. The other one was in a studio. But yeah, if you're wondering, if you have any images that could be in your portfolio, it usually kind of starts, the basic is like a headshot. But any like selfies or maybe pictures from over 5, 6 years ago, pictures from, maybe you were in an ad once or on a website. Typically, those aren't included in your portfolio. That's for you to keep as some of your experience in the industry. But we really want to go for these professionally shot photos, which means we're going to need a photographer. We're going to need like maybe a creative team. I'm going to show you guys all the steps to setting up your first test shoot. But you want it to really show your range, what you're capable of. So different outfits, different settings, and they should be nice and polished, right? So that again, you can captivate your clients. What is a test shoot? That was, like I said, step one when I first started modeling. There was a lot of lingo that I had no idea, a lot of industry terms, and my agent had said, okay, first thing we're going to do is get you set up for a test and let me know your availability. I said, okay. Tried to look up online, hey, what does it mean? What does it mean? It wasn't really available online, like all the answers are. These days, I was like, are they going to quiz me or what's going on? So I have kind of come up with my own definition of why they call it a test shoot. Like you have your photo shoots for jobs, and those will be what we refer to as photo shoots. But specifically under that umbrella of photo shoots, when you're getting your picture taken, a test shoot is all of the images that come to get taken to put into your portfolio. So I figured out the reason they call it a test shoot is because they're going to put your skills to the test and we're going to try to generate some fresh professional images for your portfolio. And then from that point, once you have the images, you want to test the response to the images. Can we grab any jobs for you or any clients checking out your portfolio and saying, oh, is she available this date? We have a shoot coming up. Testing different looks, styles, and moods too. Like I said, you want to have like a versatile look. So this, I would consider this very polished. The hair is slicked back, the makeup is really clean, and then you put the blazer on there. It's a little bit sophisticated, but I'm going to show you guys examples of how you can be more unpolished or more just yourself or any lifestyle shoot you can get. So it's important to show all those ranges because all different clients have different needs of what they're looking for. And for the model, you really want to see when you test all these different looks, which which test got you the most response, right? I always say the investment of investing in yourself for these photos will always come back to you once you book your first job. You're going to pay yourself back and then some, hopefully. But it is a test for you to see. It's like investing in new business cards, right? And so you want to have as many people see that as possible. And then for you, it's a test of your modeling skills too. And then when your agency looks over it, they can say, wow, they've gotten better, they've grown. And like I said, it is an investment. There's a big misconception. I remember telling my mom, like, oh, I have a test shoot. And she's like, oh, and they pay for that, right? We are business owners. We are our business, right? I do believe there's plenty of ways that you could get free images done if you wanted to collaborate or do a trade for print with local photographers in your area. That's kind of how I started to get some of my images together, just by telling people, hey, I'm signed up with an agency now. I'm curious about modeling. Do you know any photographers? And through that networking process, I was able to find some local photographers, maybe some new photographers who wanted to work on their portfolio. And that's like a match made in heaven. When a new photographer finds a new model, you guys go out and you see what you can create. However, when you invest and you pay for a photographer who's been doing it for years, maybe that photographer has a package that includes a makeup artist, that includes a stylist. It really comes together. And so I would advise those trade for print opportunities when you're just looking to dip your toes in, get your feet wet, and get the feel of getting a photo shoot done. And when you are ready to make the investment, your agency has tons of contacts of photographers. You can find your own, you can reach out to them and say you need to start your portfolio and you need some portfolio pictures. And I remember every single photographer I've shot with, each experience is so different and so unique. So it's really obviously about the pictures that you are paying for, but the experience itself is so valuable because you learn how different photographers work and you learn how to take direction, and each photographer has a different style. So it's really good to work with many different photographers. This first shot here in Lace is when I started my journey with John Casablanca. And I drove to Newport, Rhode Island to meet with Peter Malikis, and he shot this. A lot of photographers, they have a little home studio setup where they have a blank wall and or they move things and then they have all this natural light coming in. And so he has beautiful images. If you guys have a chance to look him up, if you are on the East Coast, look up Peter Malikis, and he works with new faces all the time. So as you can see, that was back in maybe 2017. And then this picture on the right was 2022 with Caleb and Gladys, who've shot Vogue covers. They're a couple. And so every photographer loves to do test shoots with models because it's quick little turnaround income and they get to be creative. Oftentimes, when you're working for a brand or you're hired for a shoot, there's certain parameters you kind of have to stay in line with, and sometimes photographers feel like they don't get their chance to really be creative. But when you have a model with a test shoot who's looking to really get some amazing images, it becomes like this creative buzz. It's really cool. So I worked with a stylist here. They brought this Burberry jacket, a necklace that I would never wear in my real day-to-day life. But I do love that shot, and it's kind of aged out now. So these are old images. So that's what happens when you keep testing, is it's kind of like that saying, out with the old and in with the new. And somebody explained it to me like this before too, is like a lot of these casting directors, um, they help with casting for many different productions, many different brands. Brands outsource and they say, you do our casting for us. We're too busy. We don't have time. This is what we're looking for. And you hold on to this whole operation. They pay them, da, da, da. So oftentimes these casting directors that are seeing your images are working for many different brands. And if you're being submitted, they don't want to see the same images year after year after year. So it's really important to keep things fresh. And so I consider those like basic images. And then also, how often should I test? I say at least once a year, twice a year, anytime you change your look. This was a really big step for me in 2018 to be on the beach in a bathing suit. But I knew once I relocated to South Florida that a lot of the clients that come down here are looking to shoot on the beach. That's why they bring everything down here. If they have swimwear or resort wear or hotels, they want to have that beautiful beach backdrop. So this is kind of what I mean when I say, what kind of work do you want to book? So I knew I wanted to book work down here in Miami. It was kind of a non-negotiable for me to have beach photos in my portfolio. And it just kind of goes to show here that I just kept chipping away, new images, new fresh images, and showing how my skill has enhanced and come together, how my look has changed. And there's certain looks that never go out of style that are just classic, like the denim, but still has to be refreshed. So that was one of my first test images back in 2016. They had the fan going on set to kind of windswipe my hair. And it was such a new and exciting world to me. And then this is me recently at the end of last year, shot again in denim. And as you can see, I feel like the eyes have really grown to kind of look into the camera instead of just kind of look at the camera. So we're going to talk about that as well. Here is some tips for your first test shoot. I always say that the more connected you are with the photographer and the team, the more comfortable you're going to feel. So you're going to want to walk in with the desire to connect, right? It's not just about going in and getting what you paid for and walking away. Sometimes these connections that you have can teach you something new, can give you a whole new perspective, can teach you, things you didn't know. And also, I feel like it's an intimate setting where you have maybe a makeup artist doing your makeup, they're in your personal space, you have a stylist dressing you. So get to know these people, how long have you been doing this? Where are you from? Definitely remember their names. And at the end of the day, if you can connect with them on social media and build your network online, even better. I've had makeup artists that have gotten me jobs before because they had such a good time with me on set. Um, but I will say, aside from networking, it's really just going to make you feel like you're out there with your friends. And that definitely helps, break the ice. Getting used to imperfection was a big one for me too, because I used to think that like to be a good model, every shot had to be amazing, and no one really had time for bad shots. But that's not even true because uh, some of the best models in the world, you go into a test shoot for 3 hours and you come away with maybe 8 to 10 strong photos, and maybe you took 1,000 photos. So there's a lot of them that just don't make the cut. So that's the art of photography, is finding that one image that really captivates, that really sells, that everything is just right. So that means you're going to have to see a lot of imperfect images of yourself. And I used to let it get me down if they would let me see some of the images we got, and I would say, oh my gosh, I hate all of those. You just kind of have to trust the process, and get used to it. And also, it gives you a lot of information when you look at these imperfect photos of yourself and you say, okay, I can sharpen up my jaw this way. My shoulders look a little tense. I could kind of relax a little bit. Maybe I can try to just look more less stressed and more in the moment, right? Maybe I can move a little bit more. So it's feedback for you when you see those imperfections. We're going to talk a lot about a mood board and what that is. That's another thing that's industry lingo that I had no idea what it meant until I actually saw it, but they are so important. And then I do believe that these test shoots, I did say like it's an investment because you get the photos back, but the amount of lessons you learn and the experience you get is like triple the worth of the investment, because you've actually done it. You've put yourself on a set, you've moved, you've seen the images, you've seen what works, what doesn't work. And so constantly I am learning. And that's what I really love about this industry, is that I never stop learning. I'm never at a baseline of how good I'm going to get. I feel like you can always, always, always improve and always learn. And then another thing too, I have to break this down for you guys because it changed my life. I would go into these scenarios and say, oh, well, what if the photographer is mean, or what if I'm awkward, or what if the makeup comes out bad, or, what if I just can't do it? What if I'm not this enough? What if I'm not that enough? And I was sharing that with somebody one time, and they said, anytime you catch yourself saying, what if, that is you stressing over something that hasn't even happened yet. So it seems like when you break it down like that, it's such a pointless waste. So what I love to do is stop with the what if statements. I totally get rid of them because who knows what's going to happen. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But the one thing you do have control over is the present moment. So I would spend your time leading up to your first test shoot focusing on what you can do in the present moment that's going to make you more prepared. If that's studying other models, looking at other images, if you're styling your own wardrobe, I've done that before. Focus on what you can do to put that all together so that you're prepared when you step in. And then bring all of your confidence. We're going to talk what confidence is, what it means, how it's built. But just remembering, what do you have to lose? What a great opportunity. I always like to counteract any negative thought I have with gratitude. And it's just like, what an amazing experience I have at my fingertips to get my photos taken and try to make some strides in this industry, right? Showing up, I'll always tell you guys, showing up is half the battle of success in this industry. Like I said in the beginning, Nothing is guaranteed, but if you show up, you literally have nothing to lose because you tried it. How do you define confidence? This is going to be our activity for you guys to respond in the Q&A. Think about how you would define it if you could, or what confidence means to you. And then some thoughts to consider. You can share if you'd like, or just, use it for your own personal development. But when it comes to modeling, when it comes to acting, how would you rate your confidence? And what are some ways that you can get to a 10? And when you kind of break it down like that, you realize maybe there's things you could be doing that you're not doing. It's definitely going to help bring an awareness to say, hey, this is my responsibility to make sure that I'm setting myself up. So, how can I show up into these auditions and show up to these test shoots at a 10 where they need me to be rather than walking in at a 2? So, I'll tell you guys right now, being here in this workshop, educating yourself, making time for yourself. Investments don't always have to be in the form of money. They could just be in time and if energy that you're giving to something that's really important to you. So that's one way you guys can creep on up to a 10. That is a really reassuring thing to hear. Thank you. I love the online presence. Just reading you guys' comments. How many pictures should be in the portfolio? It really depends on your agency's style of how they want to present you, but I do know that in a test shoot, you usually get about 10 to 15, 10 to 20 images. It also depends on what the photographer's package is, how they sell the images. But in my portfolio right now on my Miami website, I probably have about 15 good images over the last maybe 3 years. So, yeah, hope that answered your question. My confidence level is a 7, getting into the habit of doing self-tapes. Yes. And I do teach a workshop on self-tapes. And I have my calendar right here. It's going to be offered next month on a Tuesday, the 23rd, if you want to mark your calendar. Okay, what are you guys saying here? Can't tell you how much I've stressed about imperfection, but it's so true what you said. There are just tons of failed shots that will come out. That's just the reality and not failure. Thanks. Absolutely. Is anybody going to define confidence? Oh, Freya, being comfortable with your authentic self. That's a powerful statement for sure. I think that goes into confidence too. But I don't think we're really getting to the guts of what confidence means to you guys. Feel free to share if you have your light bulb moment and it comes to you. But in my personal experience, everything I've learned about confidence, I used to always think, oh, well, once I'm comfortable with the way I look, I'll be confident. There's no doubt in my mind that if I, get to wear this out, or if I lose this, or if I build muscle here, I'll be confident for sure. Or maybe once I book my first job, I'll be confident, sure. And then I realized it has nothing to do with any outside validation, reward, sense of accomplishment. Confidence literally is something that you have to create. And it's a never ending process, which is the beauty of it. You can learn to create confidence your entire life, especially as you step into new roles. Yeah, when you step into new roles, these new things feel scary. They scare us. I think about maybe someday being a mother. I'm like, I'm scared. But I felt that way when I wanted to become a model. I said, this is scary. I even felt that way when I got this opportunity to teach these workshops. I said, this is scary. But when you come out on the other side and you put yourself there and you show up, what happens is you build a trust in yourself. And that trust is an aspect of being confident as well. Like confident people trust themselves. Confident people do what they say they're going to do. So if you say you want to get in shape and you want to go for a run, 3 times next week, but you keep hitting the snooze button, keep hitting the snooze button, and you don't do it, how have you learned to trust yourself? So, confidence that in that sense it has nothing to do with what you look like. It's literally building a relationship with yourself, investing in yourself and taking the risks that you need to take in order to build confidence. It's like going into something brand new and coming out on the other side. So in that aspect, I used to think like, oh, well, of course they're, a movie star. They have all this confidence. But how did they get there? Did you see all of the small decisions that they made, all of the big steps and risks that they took to get to that place? Confident people are not afraid to be a beginner. They love learning, asking questions. Most of the time, it is your own self holding you back from showing up confident. So, in that aspect, I do believe that feeling insecure is a decision that you make. So, you almost have to get the power over your mind to feel confident and take those practical little steps to build that trust in yourself, to invest in yourself. And that rewards yourself in knowing that you are worth it. You're worth it. Confidence needs to be practiced. If you keep practicing, you keep improving. I've shown you those pictures side by side from 2016 to 2025. You could see that I've been at it and keep practicing, keep practicing. So I do consider myself a confident model. Do I know everything? No, because like I mentioned, you will always continue to learn in this industry and relearn because different clients and different projects have different needs. So it's not like you learn how to model for one client and then that's the same across the bar. It's always going to bring out different versions of yourself. You're always going to have to keep reaching for more to literally pull out of yourself, especially when you're in front of the camera. So I hope that helps your definition of confidence. If you're anything like me, that I always thought like, once my hair turns, is moisturized, I'll feel confident or whatever. Little things like that. I think they're not true and they're not helpful. I feel like we can be confident at any stage, and knowing that we're good enough now, even though we're working towards what we want to be. So, moving on back to the nitty-gritty for your prerequisites. For your first test shoot, first step, visualization. I told you guys I would teach you about mood boards, planning, organization, and then lastly, communication. A mood board is something that is widely used on every set that you will ever be on. So it's not just for test shoots, big, huge sets. When I worked for It Cosmetics back in 2024, I want to say, and every set that I've been on, there's always a mood board because they want everyone to have the same visuals to understand the objective of the shoot. So when I was working for Stitch Fix in Atlanta, they had a whole poster board of different models, different poses, and it served to help the makeup artist understand what the makeup needed to be, the photographer to understand what the lighting was, the model to understand what the overall vibe is, what the poses look like, what they're looking for. So without a mood board, you don't really have a good direction of your shoot. So you will be so impressed, or you will impress your photographer if you say, "Hey, I've come up with a mood board. Can I send it to you?" And that helps everybody have the same visual interpretation of where we want the shoot to go. Now, these are images that call to you. They're based on other models' portfolios. I don't know if you guys have done this before, but in the beginning of my career, my favorite thing to do was to stalk agency websites and pull all of this inspiration. So some of the leading agencies, Ford models, IMG, or even just doing a quick Google search, modeling agencies near me, go on their website and see the talent that they represent and have a folder in your computer, take a screenshot on your phone of any images that call to you. Maybe you can relate to the model, maybe you have a similar look. But these are all the images that you're going to compile for your mood board. Plan and organizing the looks that fit the mood board. For me, this is the most time consuming part. I always overthink what is going to look good on camera, which is why I usually try to work with a stylist. But I'm gonna show you some like concrete pictures so you guys kind of understand what works. And then communication too. Get your agency's opinion about what your portfolio needs. They always know the industry best. They know what's booking, what's not. Maybe they could send you examples for your mood board so you kind of understand what direction they want you to go into. And it's important to consider what work do you want to book. So if you wanted to book a beauty campaign, a skincare campaign, you're going to need to have some close-up shots. Um, but yeah, basically, it's all about marketing yourself. A standard test shoot will have 3 to 4 looks in one test shoot. So you don't want to go bring a whole suitcase filled with options. We want to have 3 to 4 looks in one test shoot. Have some basics. I love this outfit. It's so simple and everything is brand new. Sometimes the stylist job, I didn't know this. I thought they just had like a capsule that they would pull from. They go shopping for you. They put things on their credit card, you shoot with the tags on, and then they send them back and they return it. So I would never want to be a stylist. That's so stressful for me. Like, what if they stain them or whatever? But yeah, it gives you access to having another set of eyes on what you're wearing. But this is a very basic thing that anybody could do. Jeans, white shirt, little overcoat, and then your makeup artist too is going to help you just seal everything together. They're going to keep a watchful eye on your hair, on your shine levels and make it so that you look really put together. And if you have a makeup artist that's starting off with a big, bold look with tons of makeup, you want to always have them start simple. And then for each look, you can build on it if you want. So typically the drama, the shadow, the eyeshadow is all going to be last. So here's some examples for you guys. I just love looking at models' photos. I can learn a lot about their positioning. You can see the backdrops can be different colors, how they all tie in together. The lighting is different. So that's really what I love too, is each photographer has their own style. I love this on the right side. For me, obviously, I relate more to female pictures, but you look up, people of all kinds and just kind of see what stands out to you. But I love that she has the skin showing the pop of color. And I love that it's all about her features. Her hair is tied back and she has that rosy little pink that kind of matches with the top. I just love it. These are some beauty shots. Again, bold jewelry, bold lip, as up close as this can be to show the texture and tone of your skin. It's like up close and personal. And I love the turtleneck. I'm not somebody who really wears turtlenecks, but it's just something so sophisticated and classy here with the pop of green. It's like giving rich. And I could see her booking for like Ann Taylor or any sophisticated women's brand too. So here I was trying to go for similar looks because I was inspired by those mood board pictures. So it's not about copying it. It's just about getting the overall intention behind the photo, the feeling behind the photo, and what it is that you want to showcase here. So this one's kind of like deep, dark, mysterious, and this one's kind of like bright, pop of color, hair is back. That was shot on the beach. We showed up at like 6 in the morning and did makeup and hair outside of the car. Changed in the car, had a few different looks. And that was a photo shoot I managed to put together with no cost other than my time and planning my own wardrobe. So it can be done if you have people who want to collaborate with you. Just make sure that you guys are all on the same page. The power shot too. I love that where it's just this, just looking right into your soul, right? And it's kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna be the star of this next cologne ad. It really depends. What's the vibe that you're going for here? Here are some of my power shots too. The one on the left you guys have already seen, but I'm super proud of these because I kind of directed them all. I was very inspired by a few photos that I brought to the shoot, and they said, let's do it. This I like to call the unspoken poise, where it's just really soft, um, and confident at the same time, where it's like, oh, you kind of caught me off guard. I was just sitting here chilling. Um, and so it's that effortless, cool look that a lot of clients love. So if you can give that to them, you're booked. Caught in the moment. This would be more lifestyle stuff. So as you can see on the right is wearing, just something that's totally streetwear. I guess we would call this streetwear. So there's tons of looks that you can do, tons of settings that you can do, that clients will just literally eat it up. And they can't visualize you really in the role that they're trying to fill until they can see the images, the examples that you provide for them that shows, yes, I can do it. And so that's why the portfolio is so, 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 so important. I love this shot with the blue on the tennis court there in a little workout outfit. So cute. You think about all the brands who could potentially need models. This could be a tennis brand. This could be a vitamin and supplement brand where they're just trying to capture the feeling of wellness, of being active. And so that's what we like to describe as like lifestyle shots, where they want to see you in something that you do day to day. These I love. I would book her in a second if I was looking for it. Now, this could be for anything. It could be for a nail campaign. It's all about the energy that you're giving off in your photos. And this to me is screaming unpolished, edgy, confident, uninhibited. This one too, just hanging out. Oh, you caught me. I was just over here chilling, taking a rest, and all of a sudden, I'm looking beautiful for you, and you want to put me in your next campaign. And then, of course, there's emotion in motion, right? Sometimes if it's a certain vibe, you're going to want to move around. You're going to want to scream. You're going to want to, if it's, let's say you're doing pajamas or whatever, you're going to want to look cute and smiley and happy. The day is done. Or if you're trying to portray like a powerful woman, who's happy, you're selling the clothes at the end of the day or the product. So you need to kind of learn how to do that and how to be confident. And a lot of it of the time is just about movement, just different movements, just not staying completely still. So the next half or the last little bit of this presentation is all going to be about posing, how to move. And remember that we are selling ourselves when we're doing test shoots for our portfolio. So the product in these photos from test shoots is always going to be you. When you are hired for a job, the product is going to be what they're selling. But if you can learn how to sell yourself through expression and creativity, you can sell anything. And that's really the beauty of modeling, of even acting, is selling a character through expression and creativity. So that is your role, is to captivate and inspire an audience to buy something, to how they would feel if they were to put on something. So if you think about it as much deeper than just how you look, it's kind of how you sell yourself. How are you stepping into that expression of yourself? And so this is what I like to call, not what I like to call, but what is called emanate. And I remember the first time I heard this word, I had never heard it before. And they were referring to modeling for me and understanding the whole industry of modeling. A lot of people like to look at it as like, oh, it's vapid, it's shallow. But I still think models are the most humble people because, every job they got could have been handed to the next 5'10", dark-haired brunette, same age range. There's tons of competition. So the quality of emanating is a verb, to do. It's an action to express a quality or feeling through a way that you look and behave, to flow out from a source, to send forth, to emit. So if you think about inside your soul, what are we emitting? Are we inhibited? Are we shy? Are we stiff? Or are we free? Are we feeling beautiful, carefree, unpolished? The beauty your body is the vessel through which your soul speaks. Every moment you are being a full statement of your being, you're sending out vibrations that emanate from you. So there is this one quote that comes to mind where it's like, if you think beautiful thoughts, they will flow out from you and you will look like the most beautiful person. But if you think ugly thoughts, those will also flow out from you. So it's really important to understand that this industry has a lot to do with your internal state. As much as they focus on the external, a very successful model has to really get a hold and bring an awareness to their internal state because a picture is worth 1,000 words. I know you guys have heard that before. So it's what we're putting off and what we're emitting. So tips for posing, sink into the off moments. I love this picture here where I'm just laughing to myself. It's like you wouldn't even know the camera is there. You are just having an off moment where you're happy to be alive. And that is something that really sells. Not forgetting to crack a smile. In the beginning of my career, I used to always, and still to this day, I have photographers remind me, can you give me a smile? And so sometimes it feels weird to shift between trying to be that, captivating presence, that powerful, confident woman into like a silly little happy girl. But you have to know how to flip those on. Sometimes models literally make themselves laugh. They express a ha ha ha, and it comes out looking really real. Think about something funny. Think about a happy memory. One thing too is we hold a lot of tension in our shoulders, and if we're unsure, sometimes they can be up here and we can kind of cling tight. But if you learn to just relax and work on fluid movements, fluidity is like water, like it just flows, right? So in the beginning of my career, and this is all part of my learning process, but I was called stiff. I posed very robotically. I wasn't really in the moment because I was thinking to myself, okay, if I put my hand on hip, then that's a pose. Click, I'd hear the camera, and then I'd say, okay, next hand off hip. And I would be thinking about it very robotically. But now it's all about just moving, flirting with the camera, being in your off moments, being in your own little world, focusing on what you want to put out and emit. But the one thing I'll tell you guys is the camera's going to make a noise when it clicks. And every time it clicks, that's your cue that something has to change. So, one model told me one time that how she got so good at changing, coming up with different things. And sometimes you can do it all, run through it, and then start from the top. Because there's only so many things you can do with your body, right? But she said she'd play a song in the mirror and it would have a fast beat. And every time the beat changed, she would try to switch something until it all came together. And there's videos on YouTube too, if you guys want to see it in motion. I encourage you to look up some posing tutorials. These are just my tips. Soft hands. In the beginning of my career as well, I would hold a lot of tension in my hands. I wouldn't know what to do with my hands, or I'd want to go like this, but I'd actually really lean on my hand and it would pull. But the art of modeling is to make it look real, but you're actually just delicately placing your hand. You're relaxing them. So if you have to shake out all that tension, go for it. But if you ever do get in the game, you'll notice the last thing you got to figure out is your hands and how to make them look naturally placed. That is a whole art skill as well. Changing the direction of your gaze, like you don't always have to look at the camera. You could look off, you could look down. You could look at your clothes, you could look at your hands. There's all different ways that you can look around. But I will say the best is when you have that really strong connection to the camera. I love his eyes. I love the way he stares down the camera. It makes me want to dress like this, right? Because he's carrying so much energy, so much confidence, so much poise. And I believe he does this by shifting his weight. So we have two hips. We can place a lot of weight on one or the other, or we can equal it out. So that in itself is movement of your core, right? So just that shifting weight. And then the triangle method too is building triangles with your body. So he's got a triangle. His two legs in that position are creating a triangle. His elbows out to the side, creating a triangle. His hand on his knee, creating a triangle. His leg, his ankle over his knee, creating a triangle. So if you're ever caught with what to do, think of the triangle method. Trying new things and taking risks. This picture of me on the right side, I love it. I love it so much. It's giving that strong, kind of crazy look. But some brands will eat that up, right? And so the photographer told me, just scream the word you. And so I did. But these are just unpolished, edgy photos that really get to the essence of who you are. We're all so unique. So rather than try to conform and have it look a certain way, really let your freak flag fly sometimes, right? And just go crazy with the hair. It doesn't have to look perfect, mess it up, look anywhere. So that's a whole other aspect of modeling too, is just letting yourself take risks and try new crazy things. And so you can come up with these crazy things by studying other models. They will expand your mind so you can see what's possible when you are looking at other models' portfolios of different expressions, different angles. This will forever be my most beloved smize that I've ever done. Smize is a term that was coined by Tyra Banks. It's when you smile with your eyes. So it's that building that intensity with your eyes. And the AEIOU method, like I said, that photographer instructed me to say the word you. And as you can see, it gave me that shape with my lips. But if you're thinking to yourself, because in the beginning I would model and I'd say my lips, I have no control. They just look kind of stiff. I can't change the expression. I don't know what to do, open or close mouth. But if you think to yourself, little soft vowels, A, E, I, O, U, and you don't have to fully exaggerate them, but it helps move and give different variety. And then the square method too is pretending that there's a square around your head and you're just kind of tilting your chin so that, let's say you're trying to paint the whole square and you have paint on your chin. You're just going to try to hit every corner in that little square box rather than going like this and going all over the place. Keep your head into a tight little square and that will get different angles here. And some inspiration for posing too. If you aren't willing to look like a foolish beginner, you will never become a graceful master. The first time my photographer put me on the beach in a swimsuit at 8 a.m. and people were around and people were looking, I was a foolish beginner and I was scared and I was nervous. And now when you get me on a beach and there's people there, I don't even see them. I don't even care because I'm here to build my confidence and work on my craft. And I want to book jobs, so I need to get those images. I need to keep working at it. I need to bring something fresh to the table. I need to work on my skills and have something to show for it too, because you could be in the modeling game for 5 years and these pictures are what you show for it. So from Tyra Banks, these are her tips. No limp noodles. That kind of means like put some muscle tension in your body, your back straight up, tighten your core. There is a time and a place for kind of sinking into a pose and being a little bit more relaxed, but we don't want to be like that the whole time. So we want to switch. So go from a limp noodle to an uncooked noodle and have everything have some tension. No neck monsters too. So a whole image could be beautiful, but if your neck is not elongated or your neck is hidden, it's like your head is floating on a body and it just composition wise doesn't flow. So all of the images that have no neck get thrown out. We want to make sure as a model we are elongating our neck and making its presence known. No hoochie moves, self-explanatory. You can see this picture on the left. She's got her legs wide open. One could consider this a hoochie move, but she does it in a way where it's very fashion, very risky, very bold. Her outfit is not revealing. The whole thing is just powerful, powerful, powerful. So she also said the more dumb we feel while posing, the cuter they look. So something to keep in mind. And as we reach the end of the workshop, the goal is always going to be to capture your uninhibited self. What is uninhibited? It's expressing one's feelings or thought unselfconsciously, without restraint. How do we do this? We trust ourselves. We trust our team. We listen to the photographer, take their feedback, take their direction. I love when they challenge me to try something new. I'm like, all right, here we go. Let's see how it comes out. What do I have to lose, right? You want me to jump in the air? I'm going to be graceful and I'm going to jump in the air. But your job is always going to be to balance that direction that they're giving you, but also stay true to yourself and follow your own flow of what feels right to you. And knowing that they're trusting you to emote, to give movement, to give expression. I used to think modeling was just about standing there and being pretty and everyone telling me how to move, but it's really you become a performance that should not be taken lightly. You have to move, connect, let emotions fly through you, laugh, look sassy. You can do a whole bunch of range. The more talented you are as an actor, we know because of the range that you provide, it's kind of the same with a model. I do love this photo for a beauty shot. It's so crisp and clean. It shows the texture of my skin, my features. That is a winner for me in my book, but unfortunately it's old now. I think I did that back in 2022. So it's been recycled. And so I have to keep working at it. So at the end of your shoot day, you'll hear that's a wrap. We did it. And it's just the best feeling. You laugh, you feel excited, you feel hopeful. And we know that we are beautiful and talented and we're creative, but now we have the concrete evidence. We have the images that can prove what we're going to bring to the table. And that is how we market ourselves. And a reminder to you guys is that you don't have to hit the jackpot on the first one. Sometimes you're going to see looks that didn't really nail it. I've had that happen a lot of times. Even when I'm working with a stylist, I say, scrap that whole look. I'm glad we tried it, but it didn't work. So what every artist must learn is that even the failed pieces are essential because now you know what doesn't work and what does work. So don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to try anything. And I hope that gives you guys a lot of insight on how to set yourself up for building that portfolio. It's my greatest honor to be here and even to share some of my portfolio images with you. I hope to keep getting better and better and better and better. And as I have more images to share, I will share with you guys. Do you use the golden rule or the rule of thirds when taking photos? I don't know what that is. I don't think I've heard of that. But Freya says, Happy Memorial Day to everyone. Yes. Remember the ones who gave their life. I think that's what Memorial Day is about, remembering all of our veterans. Oh, kid at heart. Absolutely. And if that's part of how you identify being a kid at heart, you want to have the images that capture that, and it's going to sell to the right client. And they're going to pay you lots of money to be in their campaign. Does the stylist ever let the model keep the clothes? They'll let you buy the clothes. And I have done that before. If I really liked something, I'll buy it off of them. But yeah, no, their job is to get their money back because they spend the money on the clothes and then they go and return them. So, now if you were on a shoot, like I did a bathing suit company, they gave me some swimwear. And it's amazing when they do that. But I will tell you, it's only happened a couple of times in the 10 years. Most of the time, they're the samples that they have you model. And for some reason, the samples are used again and again and again throughout the process of creating clothes. And so they can't really afford to give them away. But you guys are so welcome. I am very happy to have spent this hour with you guys. My next workshop coming up is going to be June 15th. So I won't see you guys for a couple weeks. But I actually have 5 workshops in the last 2 weeks of June. So keep a lookout for that. Skincare, self-tapes, mindset shifts, prepping for your first day on set, and a runway class. I don't do runway that often, but if you guys are interested in runway, that will be on the 15th. So I hope everybody has a lovely weekend and I hope to see you guys again. And if I don't see you again, best of luck to you all. Everyone have a great day.